Alright, welcome everyone to Dragon Heist, this wondrous tale of urban adventure that we're streaming here on Javelin Entertainment every Tuesday starting at 6 p.m. Central. If you missed the last chapter, you can find it on the channel or by clicking the playlist down in the description. Last time, our adventurers were confronting a Mind Flayer within the sewers of the city. The Mind Flayer thankfully made his way away from them, but left a terrifying pet behind, an intellect devouring brain creature, as well as turning Torunn against the rest of the party. The party battled to get past Torunn and were hit by flames of the half-orc mage, who wasn't quite as dead as they had thought. But they burst past and found Floon lying nearly unconscious on the floor. Ezra tried to confront the brain creature, but was hit by its mental attack, leaving her intelligence siphoned away and her lying catatonic on the floor. The party were able to finish off the other enemies before any fatalities occurred, and rushed quickly out of the sewers to the nearest temple to try and heal Floon and Ezra. The priest there was able to bring Ezra's intelligence back, and Renaer luckily covered the costs of the expensive procedure. And after a quick rest for recovery, the party made their way back to Volo at the Yawning Portal to return Floon and relay their harrowing story to the eager author. Unfortunately, Volo was short of gold, but instead gifted them a large, if somewhat decrepit manor in the north ward of the city. After doing a bit of shopping and visits to friends nearby, the party now awaits to hear what it will take to repair the tavern. So, we find you all at Trollskull Manor in the north ward of the city. It's been a day since you all have, or I guess it's been 2 days since you all have encountered Floon in the sewers and made your way back out. And you've taken one night spent here in Trollskull Manor, and today, early in the morning, you're awoken by the commotion of many individuals. You come downstairs to see Torunn interacting with a few individuals from what seems to be guilds within the city. There's maybe a half-dozen humans, dwarves, and halflings examining different aspects of the manor, looking up and down and trying to gain an estimate cost of what it would take to repair this building. In the meantime, what would you all like to be doing?
Are we going to sit down and have breakfast? Does Pats have breakfast for us?
Of course I do.
Does Pats, have you purchased any meals or food?
Yes, I have purchased some very special eggs that I made some traditional eggs and bacon with. These are not your normal eggs. They are, I had to pay a pretty penny for them as they are rock eggs.
And Dari's not even going to ask what it is before she digs in and eats it.
Yeah.
A big bird.
Better to
makes
not
big
know.
eggs.
Well, sounds good.
Normally,
Don't ask where the bacon came from.
Normally, you guys are used to eating whenever you have eggs. It's normally maybe 2 to 4 eggs per person. It's fairly traditional. But somehow, Pats has managed to feed you all with one singular egg, and kind of glimpsing into the half-repaired kitchen inside, it is just an absolute mess of yolk and egg white that is kind of splattered across the stove. But it is fairly delicious.
Bet, I don't like to look at your cooking too often, but I gotta say, taste is almost always delicious.
And that's all that
That's
matters.
what everyone says. Even my own ma. Don't know why.
I feel like if my child was bringing home some of the ingredients that you bring home, I might have a little bit of a questioning look on my face. But as always, tastes wonderful.
Alright.
right?
That's what my mom always said. She was too scared to go deep into the jungle to get the real fun ingredients. Oh well. More for me.
Well, as you said, Pats, you truly are the bravest of us all.
And he puffs out his chest in pride.
As you all are kind of sitting around this table, there comes a sharp snapping sound, as it sounds like some piece of furniture or perhaps a plate or bowl is just shattered across the ground. And you look out and you do see that an old piece of ceramic, like a pot, has been smashed in the middle of the tavern floor.
All right, Ezra's getting up and checking that out immediately.
Yeah, so is Durazin, trying to see what happened.
Sure, each of you guys can go ahead and roll me an investigation or perception, whichever you would like.
Investigation.
Definitely perception.
Oh.
He.
You guys look across the room, kind of scanning the area, and there doesn't seem to be really much sign of anything. Kind of looking across the floor, I mean, it's still pretty dusty. There hasn't been a whole lot of cleaning efforts put into this place yet, but you don't see any real footprints that look out of place. And especially this pot that's been smashed is kind of out of the way, and there doesn't seem to be anything nearby. But as you're kind of scanning, you do kind of catch one of the windows, and the dust and grime has kind of been pulled away into jagged letters that spell out "Last Call."
Ooh. You know, I get the feeling someone doesn't want us here.
I feel like people
Oh, we
don't
own
want
the
us in
place
most
now.
places.
Yeah, I believe the last few people who owned this place died.
Yeah, but how many of them were there? Strength in numbers, right?
Oh, definitely, but maybe someone wants this building empty for a reason.
Or maybe the ghost is just a friendly barkeep. Last call for drinks?
Ah.
No?
It might not be a ghost. Could
So
just be
adventure?
people.
Pats is gonna cast Detect Magic. See if he can see anything fancy going on. We'll see if he can see any ghosties.
Alright, so Pats, you kind of begin this incantation, pulling your arms around and kind of mixing it with a bit of alchemical ingredients that you kind of chew on, and the effects soon take place as your eyes sort of adjust and you feel this kind of film cover your pupils. And as you look out, you can see kind of sharp colors as you notice magical effects from each of your companions. Looking across the tavern floor, you do catch just a glimpse, like a movement, like streaks of old magic that kind of pass by you. I believe it was you who noticed this effect before, and it seems very familiar.
Yeah.
But you're not able to get too much of a reading on exactly what it is. It seems like strands of distant magic, as if there's not really an active emanating magical aura, but kind of the strands of something that was there.
Something that was there recently, or like just ages past.
Roll me an Arcana check.
Okay. Yeah.
You're not really sure. You've typically, when using this spell, it's very vivid, and the different colors kind of display which kind of schools of magic. But this one, they're almost gray, almost devoid of colors, and just kind of the tendrils of magic. And you're not sure if these, I mean, you've seen them before, so maybe they're extremely old, but they also might be recent. You're not really sure. There's no definitive way to tell.
Thinks there's a sneaky ghost around here. There's some old magic, but I don't know what it is. I'm gonna catch it.
You want to catch it?
It's hunting.
Well, next time it makes itself shown or known, maybe we can do something about it. I don't know.
I wasn't quick on the draw.
do we need to catch it? Maybe we just
Well-
leave it alone.
That too. But I want to catch it first. You know, it's like what the tall people do with fish. For some reason, you guys like to catch them and then throw them back sometimes. I don't get it, but it makes sense with ghosts, sort of. I don't know.
I don't think the ghost is gonna appreciate it too much. Maybe we could just talk to him first, though. Maybe if we just ignore them, they'll go away.
Who knows? Maybe they're fun.
As you all are speaking, you hear a metallic tang and a tumble of wood. And as you kind of look around, you see from the back area of the kitchen what seems like ale washing out across the floor and kind of reaching in before draining through the floorboards of the tavern as it's kind of spreads out across the floor.
All my ingredients! And I run into the kitchen just to make sure everything's okay.
You make your way into the kitchen and you see a large barrel of old ale that has been busted open and it is just scattered in pieces across the floor. The ale kind of seeping into all of the floorboards, dripping down to the basement below and kind of scattered across the floor as it seeps in, and there is a dank smell of old liquor.
Maybe not fun. Seemed a bit angry, really.
At least it wasn't the good booze.
Well,
Wait, there's
maybe
good
we're
booze?
we're trespassing.
Oh yeah,
on
you
their
haven't
home?
tried Captain Siegfried's signature rum. I miss him. I wonder where he went. But anyways, back to the ghost. There's like the basement underneath, or the cellar underneath here. Can we get the map for this place?
Sir,
That'd be really great.
Yeah, I think it was like directly under the kitchen, or kind of.
Something
Yeah,
like that.
I believe like
go
that's
check
where
it
stuff
out.
would be seeping.
yeah, so it's kind of spilled out from the kitchen into the pantry, and it started to kind of spread over towards the tap room, and so it's kind of dripping down
Okay.
into the basement below.
Okay. Well, I'm not feeling too perceptive, but I'm feeling curious, so I'll go down to the basement. See what the situation's like down there.
I'm definitely going.
Durzen's not too interested in ghost hunting, so he's just gonna follow behind. Might not even go into the basement.
Well,
Just hang
that's
out
where I
at the
keep
top.
my spices, so I need to make sure
Ooh.
they didn't get wet.
Oh, that's
Well,
important.
maybe I'll go down then.
Come on, everybody.
All right, so you all kind of head to the hatch and open it up and kind of step down the old wooden stairs to the basement. And reaching it, again, it's pretty empty. It's pretty old. There's cobwebs kind of stretching across the top, and you can see where the ale is slowly dripping down and starting to pool on the floor. And kind of looking across, you do see kind of a few pieces of wood that have seemed to be pieces of just debris from crates and boxes nearby, and they're kind of floating in what almost seem like a word, and kind of looking at it, eventually you all are able to make out just five what's almost look like letters that seem to say leave.
Can I
Yeah.
cast this and have like little green creepy glow lights following us around while we explore?
Yeah, so as
I can see now.
Nidari kind of swirls her hands quickly and kind of breathes out as if blowing the strands of a dandelion, and out come these three globules of light that kind of drift up to the corner of the room. And what would usually be helpful is almost adding to the ominous nature, as these old green lights just cast shadows through the dust and the cobwebs down here.
Does my detect magic see anything amiss down here? Or is it more that old gray strands?
You actually don't see any of the strands of gray magic that you had seen before. It's pretty empty in here as you kind of look around.
Well, I don't want to leave. And the spices seem to be okay, so... How are we gonna get this ghost out?
Well, maybe we can coexist.
Yeah, I'm not too worried
After
about
we
it.
catch it, right?
After we catch it.
Yeah.
Alright, Ezra doesn't know if this is gonna lead to anything or if she's just shouting out into the mist, but she'll step forward and, ask, well, why do you want us to leave? Because she can commune with the ghosts now. Or not.
So you're just kind of
Yes,
calling this out into the air?
Yeah, I mean, she doesn't know what else to do, or can't really do much else.
You kind of step forward and call this out and hear it reverberating around the cellar, around you and among you, and there doesn't seem to be any sort of response.
Oh, ask if she or they want some more friends.
Alright, well, Ezra will reciprocate this to the ghost with her newfound attempted power. Communal power.
Still just kind of calling out these words, relaying from Ndari out into the empty cellar. You don't hear anything responding to you. Pats, you do see as
Oh,
a few
darn.
tendrils of gray energy do brush past your vision, though.
Oh, so they're new strands.
They still seem to be kind of the old faded. It looks as if lingering magic, but these ones weren't there before, and now they are.
I hate to see ghosts. And they moved past me, like,
They kind of,
towards where?
when you were looking in one direction, they kind of weren't there, and then you kind of scanned around, and by the time you looked back in that direction, they had appeared.
Are they, like, anywhere in particular? Or are they just, like, out in the middle of the room? Otherwise, I'm just gonna walk towards it regardless.
They seem to be pretty close to Ezra, kind of off to the side of the cellar.
See, normally, when I detect magic, I can tell what kind of school of magic these things are from. But I'm seeing these weird gray lines I've never seen before. I think it's the ghost. And, it's right next to you, Ezra. Don't be alarmed.
Well, I think so far, nothing bad's happened yet. But maybe we need to figure out more of what's happened here. Like, I know we know a little bit of history about the owners, but I don't know. 'Cause they
I
can't
don't know
seem
if
to
it's
talk
anything,
with it.
but I did find this up in one of the drawers in the shop up there in the library. He's gonna pull out the watch that is engraved. Kind of strange that it hadn't been taken already.
Durzin kind of shows you all a small silver pocket watch, and kind of flicks it open and closes it, and you can see that there seems to be an engraving on the inside.
What was the engraving again?
Their initials for US.
I don't know a lot about ghosts. Usually they get angry if you intrude on them, I think.
Well, it sounded like there was a bunch of people outside on the street. We could head outside, see if they know anything about whoever this US is.
I'd hand with that.
Sorry, you were cutting out there. Who are you asking?
Oh,
Midori?
I was asking if Pats needed a hand as I'm watching him move planks.
Yeah, Pats is just kind of kneeling down in the small puddle of ale that is steadily growing larger and just kind of moving around planks to different formations.
Moves one, looks at it studiously, slightly adjusts it.
I'm trying to communicate.
I'm not sure.
They can only speak with planks, so maybe they can only read planks.
I suppose I can't argue with that logic, but something tells me we're Worth a try.
That's my motto. Good to know that you're catching on.
I feel that we might want to explore the other rooms, as Ezra said. We want to get a handle on what's been around this place.
Pats, as you're kind of rearranging and kind of finish it off, wiping your hands, the symbols or the planks kind of forming the letters U and S, you do see as the planks themselves begin to sort of shift on the puddle.
See, I told you. What do they say?
After about a minute or so, they do form back into the letters for leave.
Ah, stupid ghost.
Well,
Doesn't
it's
have
worth a
anything
shot.
cool to say.
Well, I don't know about you all, but I'm really not interested in the ghost, and I do have things I have to do.
If this is all the ghost wants to say, I think we would be best off somewhere else.
Yeah, well, we can leave for now. I am coming back, though, so get used to this ghost.
I suppose the question is if the ghost will get used to us.
Hopefully we don't have to be here for too long. But
Isn't this our new home, though?
I'm only in the city till I find a villa.
I guess that's fair.
All right, so you all kind of looking around, kind of unsatisfied with the lack of progress. You heading back up to. You said you wanted to see what people were doing, or head out, or what's the plan here?
I think we were going to see what people were doing, and then Durzin wants to head to the end of the Crescent Moon, which I believe you said was in the Dock District?
Yes, it is in the dock ward of the city.
Yeah, so he'd like to do that and also pass by the Yawning Portal to tell Durnan that they won't be needing his rooms anymore.
All right. So you all kind of make your way out into the streets outside the manor, and you can see Torunn kind of standing out there discussing with what looks to be a small halfling with kind of bushy sideburns and kind of tuft hair, but in very fine clothing. You kind of approach over, and Torunn introduces you to the halfling, who kind of cuts in a bit halfway and extends out a hand to each one of you. Broxley Faircattle, nice to meet you. I'm the headmaster at the Fellowship of Innkeepers. I've been informed that you all are looking to re-establish the tavern, yes? Or perhaps...
I believe there's some talk in that direction, yes.
Well, we have a few members of different guilds who are taking a look around the place and establishing the current status of the establishment. It's in a bit of disarray, as I'm sure you can understand, so it will cost a bit of coin to get it up and going the first time, and then regular expenses for things like food and drink of that sort. But we do have a bit of an estimate if you all are interested.
I'm interested in seeing what numbers you've come up with.
Well, looking over the status of this building, between the Fellowship of Innkeepers and the Roofers Guild, as well as the Vintners, Distillers and Brewers Guild, the Guild of Butchers, and a few other miscellaneous places, we believe that we could have the tavern renovated in over the course of about 2 weeks for the cost of about 1,000 gold pieces, and then it would be roughly 250 gold pieces for guild licenses and contracts that would be paid up front.
I see. Well,
But once everything
much-
is up and running, I'm sure you could turn quite the profit in this corner of town. There's not too many taverns around.
And there certainly seem to be a lot of people out on the streets right now.
Yeah,
I
you
do
all
wanna-
kind of you kind of glance around, and it's early morning, but the streets are still a bustle with quite a bit of people moving back and forth from place to place.
Well, I just want to know one thing before we agree to anything, or even entertain this. I know the value of good work and hard work, and that it costs coin. I just want to know, is this what you would say is a fair price?
Oh, my dear Dragonborn companion. Of course, we of the guilds here in the city, we only deal in fair prices for all of our members. And I must assure you that we are most interested in having another tavern in an area that should see a good turn of profit. It would help both you all as well as the guild itself.
I'm sure that's true. Unfortunately, right now, unless anyone else has somehow got 1,000 gold in their pockets, I don't think we quite have the coin.
Well, if you're interested, there are a few banks within town as well as moneylenders that could provide you loans at different interest
No.
rates.
I'm not interested. Nothing. No
That sounds like a
loans.
hairy mess.
Oh, I assure you, it is the most simple affair to get your financials in status. Certainly, with as many varied, experienced adventurers as yourselves, you must have, I'm sure, a few things that you could put down to obtain the funds.
Guys, we don't even have to do anything. We just have to wait for Volo to finish his book. Then we get all the sales, and we don't have to do anything. It's perfect.
I don't know about y'all, but I'll probably be dead by the time that book's done. And I might live longer than Volo.
Come on, I trust Volo. Volo's a good guy.
I'm sure he is. Good guy or not. I don't think we should hold out for book money.
We could always make it in other ways.
Well, there's plenty of ways. But the
I mean,
best
as
way
long as
I
we
know...
don't have to go back down into the sewers. Go anywhere else.
Yeah, none of that, please. I know you cleaned me, pets, and I took 2 baths, but I still stink.
I prestidigitate you again.
That's
And I make you smell like
For fun.
flowers, like roses.
This is not better.
Well, there are many ways to
Better than me.
There are many
Okay.
ways to make up coin within the city. You all seem like strapping individuals ready for adventure, I'm sure. I do know offhand that occasionally the Lord's Alliance or Force Grey does recruit for different.
Force Grey.
Yes,
Where do they recruit?
I believe
Sorry,
they're
my
based
daughter
out.
was a member.
Oh, so you're
that I've
acquainted
been
with them
looking
then?
for. No, I've never met any of them.
Oh, I see. Well, I do believe that they are based out of Blackstaff Tower in the castle ward. It's right next to the palace. It's a large tower. It's very difficult to miss. Might be difficult to get in, but if you let them know that your daughter was a member, I'm sure that they would hear you out. Perhaps they might have some work for you.
I see.
That sounds like
Thank
it
you.
might be worth checking out.
Sounds like a place I definitely need to go.
Outside of that, if you're interested in, if you're interested in more regal type pursuits or of the religious sort, I hear the Order of the Gauntlet is always searching for adventurers who might seek out evil and monstrosities and slay them. Though I'm not sure what work they might have for you within the city. They do have a presence, I believe, in one of the temples.
Probably more sewer cleaning.
Yeah, most of the sewer cleaning is done by the Dung Sweepers Guild, so. And
They do a poor job.
well, there are many sewers within the city, and it is a taxing job, and well,
I'm
some
sure
of them,
about that.
You didn't hear it from me, but some of them are paid to give a blind eye to certain areas of the sewers for the more unsightly souls that like to call that place their home.
I'll take your word for it that the part I've seen is an anomaly. I won't be going back in anytime soon, though.
Oh, heavens, no, I would never recommend anyone to go into the sewers at all.
Yeah, we learned
Sometimes
that the
a job
hard way.
takes you places you don't want to go.
So you all went into the sewers. What were you doing down there?
Well, you heard us talking about Volo. He was looking for a friend. Found
Fascinating.
his way to the sewers.
So you all were hired for a missing persons account?
I think he was just desperate and asking anybody around.
I see. Well, if you do have an established record, especially with someone as, well, known as Mr. Volothump, then you should have some pedigree in order to get a mission with one of the factions around the city, I'm sure. But can I take it that you are at least interested in repairing this place?
I'd like to fix it up while I'm here, at least. At least till the ghost gets too angry.
Yes, the ghost. Well, I am very happy to hear that. I'll make sure and have the paperwork drawn up. I'll be handling all of the administrative duties, and so you can come and meet me at the guild hall within the castle ward should you have the initial 250 gold pieces for the down payment, and we can get started.
It
sounds like
a
we need to-
wonderful plan.
Pick up a job.
Well, I will bid you all adieu. Please have a good day. And goes and vigorously shakes each of your hands before kind of slowly kind of walking down into the street and dispersing into the town, and the others kind of pack up their various tools and head in their different directions. And leaves you all still on the front porch of this manor.
I don't really feel pressing need to head to the inn, but I'd still like to tell Durnan that we won't be needing the rooms. I wonder. Durzen's gonna look outside and see if he can spot any just, like, vagrant kids. Maybe a couple, like the ones that were in the house the other night.
Sure, give me a perception check.
Yeah.
All right. Durzen, you haven't been in this city for very long, but you kind of look across this area, and you've been in it a couple times now, and this is a pretty nice area of the city. The streets are clean, the buildings are neat. Looking around, there doesn't seem to really be any beggars or orphans running around. In other areas of the city, like the southern ward or the dock ward, you've seen commoners all over the place, kind of beggars sitting on corners, performers and buskers, and orphans and children running around. But here in the north ward, it's all clean and tidy.
Well, I'm looking for someone to, like, deliver a message. Like a runner, I guess.
You do know that there is a careers guild within the city that does deliver messages and notes. Typically, it's done between cities, but they do also operate services within the city.
Okay, just 'cause I think it's like an hour or two walk just to get to. I don't have the map open.
Are you
Or
looking for the-
alternatively, are there any guilds near the Yawning Portal that we can just stop in?
I'll move you guys to the map so that you can take a look. But the Yawning Portal is in the castle ward,
Oh, okay.
and it's
Yeah.
pretty close to the keep and to the palace. And the Blackstaff Tower is just north of that. And I'll go ahead and mark those on your map since those are pretty large.
Okay. Then me looking for anyone doesn't matter. It's close enough, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's about it's roughly about an hour down to the Yawning, or probably about 45 minutes down to the Yawning Portal, and then maybe another 15 to 20 minutes over to Blackstaff Tower.
Okay, they were closer than I expected. All right, what do you say, everyone? Should we head on down to pay? Oh gosh, the owner a visit. Tell him we don't need his room. Thank you. Turn a visit. Tell him we don't need his rooms anymore. And then
Road trip.
He was very kind to us. Letting us
that
stay
he was, and employed us.
there. Mm-hmm. Though, you know, it almost died, I think. Troll thing happened. Was a little bit of excitement, but maybe not the best place to work full time.
I agree. All right, well let's stop in, head on out, and then go on to the guild, the Black Tower Guild.
Blackstone Tower.
It's the
Blackstaff Tower, correct?
Blackstaff Tower, yes.
Thank
Boom!
you.
Look at me taking notes. Boom.
Ezra's intelligence is still recovering.
All right. So you guys head out of Trollskull Alley and take the high road, a very prominent road, actually the most prominent road in the city, down south. And after about 45 minutes and cutting off towards the end, you do make it back to the Yawning Portal and coming in. It's close to midday now, and the tavern is a bustle with activity, and you can see as there's people drinking already and partying, and it's still early for you all, but clearly that tavern does not slow down in the slightest. And you do see Durnan kind of operating the bar with another woman that most of you are not familiar with, I don't believe. But they're behind the bar kind of serving up drinks and kind of talking with patrons.
Durzen's gonna walk up and wave to him to come over when he's got a moment.
All right. You see him as he's kind of handing over a drink to a small male patron, kind of whispers a few things to him and kind of comes over, kind of talks a few words with a younger woman with kind of tousled blonde hair before finally making his way over to the bar and kind of kneeling across it, kind of looking towards you. Durzen, good to see you. What can I do for you?
We were just stopping by to inform you that we've become property owners in the city.
Have you now? Well, good for you. All of you then.
See how that goes, but we wanted to let you know we're not going to be needing your rooms, and we probably won't be working the day shift.
I see. Well, luckily...
Thought it was only right to let you know.
I appreciate it. A little earlier than I had expected, but it's for the best, I'm sure. With the spring coming into full force now, the rooms will be filling up quickly with travelers interested in seeing the city now that the winter snows have died down. Good for you all. Where, if you might ask, or if I might ask, where did you find a place of residence?
Well,
The big haunted house on Trollskull Alley. Volo couldn't pay his debt.
Volo got to that pawned off on you, did he? Well,
yeah. Didn't
good
seem
luck.
like worth squeezing him too much.
Do you all intend to repair the tavern?
I think while we're here, we're gonna try. Although I don't
We're
know how
hoping
long
to.
I'll be in the city.
Well, I do wish you the best of luck then. If you all need any assistance with navigating the guilds, you just let me know. Be happy to see another place pop up in town, especially since it isn't in my neck of the woods and stealing my business.
oh, we wouldn't dream of it.
No, we'd only be most respectful to you and yours.
Well, good to hear it, and I wish you all the best of luck. Anything else that you need?
No, we just wanted to stop by before we headed to Blackstaff.
You're headed to Blackstaff. Oh, Vajra call you in, did she?
No, but I've gotten word that Force Grey operates out of there. And my daughter spoke often of Force Grey and how she had joined them.
Your daughter?
Yes, sir, Vila.
That name sounds a bit familiar, actually. I can't quite place it, but I feel like I've heard that before.
She would have came through about 8 or 9 months ago, I think.
Must be one of the whispers I've heard while operating the bar. I'll keep an ear out if I hear anything else, but if I remember, I'll let you know.
Thank you.
Have you met Vajra before?
I can't say I have.
Well, she's an interesting woman, to be certain. Are you familiar with Force Grey?
Only that there's some sort of fighting force for when things go very poorly.
You could say that. They're more adventurous than any fighting force, but they're all committed to the protection of the city, that's for sure.
Oh, a bunch of hot-head idiots.
Well, occasionally. Kind of nods along.
For them.
They serve the city well enough, but their methods can be a bit interesting
Extreme.
at times.
That sounds like the place a Vila'd end up.
Yeah, but who am I to judge?
Hard for you to judge when you've got a hole to a dangerous pit in the middle of your room.
Indeed. Well, I wish you all the best of luck, and hopefully you can find some information about your daughter.
Thank you.
And with a
Anybody
nod...
else? I was just going to ask if anybody else needs anything.
Alright, then with a nod, he kind of gives you all, excuses himself and heads back to the bar, reintegrating himself quickly back into serving drinks and preparing food and talking with the other patrons.
Alright, well, I think we're ready to head off to the Blackstaff, don't you think?
I think that should be the next stop. Here we go.
Alright.
Onward.
This interesting woman.
As you all begin to head north towards the Blackstaff Tower, you kind of take Waterdeep Way up north through the Street of Silks, and eventually you pass by a large hill, and you can kind of see some buildings kind of stretching up towards the wall off on their own, and you do see for the first time in close proximity one of the large statues within the city, these massive gargantuan stone structures that seem to be just kneeling within the buildings. And you all have kind of heard occasional rumors about these, but haven't seen one close up yet. And these things stretch hundreds of feet into the air, far above even the tall buildings around it, and they're quite a sight. But just underneath it, to the east, you do find Blackstaff Tower, and there we go. So it should be right over there for you all. And it is a fairly large tower, kind of stretching out of the edge of the city and kind of spiraling upwards. And you see a few, they look like they're guarding the front. They seem to be but a mix of something like a guard and a thug. They're not in any sort of raiment or colors, but more just adventuring garb, kind of standing watch outside of the place.
Durzen's going to just walk up to the front and nod at him.
State your name and your business, sir.
Name's Durzin Ironmaw. Here to talk with Force Grey about my daughter, Avila. She's been missing for a while, and I'm trying to find her.
Do you have an appointment?
No.
Kind of look back and forth to each other. Why don't you head inside, see if we've got time. The other one kind of makes his way inside the tower and kind of disappears for a few minutes, leaving you all on your own outside. After about 10 minutes, the other one comes out. Well, seems it's your lucky day. The Blackstaff will see you right away. You and your friends. Follow me.
Fancy that.
Well, lucky us.
You all are brought inside this tower that is just exquisite. You can see one large central tower that kind of has what almost looks like a large wind vane across the front, but is just these strands of glass kind of spun together like silk that forms an intricate pattern. And the tower itself has these large golden plates that stretch up towards it, and a long extended bridge that goes out to a smaller structure behind. As these guards kind of lead you into the gate, kind of passing underneath the columns, you're led back across this long bridge towards the back portion of the tower, and through large double doors. Everything around you is extremely elegant, and you've never seen any sort of craftsman that is capable of this. You're not sure how these things were made. Glass that is turned into patterns that are almost unthinkable even from the most skilled glass blowers. There's metal in places and shapes that it almost seems impossible to be. The entire place is just almost otherworldly. But eventually you're guided through these doors as they kind of open up to reveal a large office with a gilded desk kind of set down, and kind of looking on the other side, you see seated behind the desk a surprisingly young woman with kind of unruly tumble of black hair above piercing green-brown eyes. And she has on fairly practical clothes of a blackish purple hue, with a long coat covered in elven ink designs. And in her hand, you do see a large staff of onyx that kind of curls up to a point at the top. And it's just sort of resting on the desk nearby, and she has her hands kind of extended across the desk. Well, I hear you all are searching for me. Please come in and take a seat. And you see as the guard kind of comes in and kind of grabs a few seats from the wall nearby and kind of sets them down just enough for each of you.
Durzin's gonna sit down in this whatever center chair is in front of her.
Oh.
Thanks for seeing us. I know this is a bit unusual, but I do appreciate it. And I've been told you're the only person who will really know what I'm looking for.
Perhaps. I do know quite a few many things within the city. I was told your name is Durzin Ironmaw, and you're looking for your daughter, Avila.
That's right, ma'am.
Well, my name is Vajra Safar. I'm the Blackstaff here. And I didn't know your daughter well. I'm relatively new to the position, and she was operating a few levels below myself, but I did hear good things about her. She was recruited by one of our unofficial members, but still someone that I have a lot of admiration for. She worked with us for a few months before she disappeared.
Disappeared? What do you mean?
Well, she was sent out on a mission, and we haven't heard anything back. Might not be anything serious. Her mission was extensive and required a good bit of time, but it's been a few months and we haven't heard any word back. I've sent some of my scouts to do some reconnaissance, but they have yet to find too many details.
Durzen's whole body just goes cold when he hears this. What mission? Where? Where is my daughter?
Mr. Ironmore, I understand your concern, but you have to understand that your daughter was involved in highly confidential activities. And while I admit that I do understand you wanting answers as her parent, I do need to caution that a bit of restraint is going to be needed for you to get the answers that you seek.
Ma'am, I have seen countries burn. I will find my daughter.
I am certain that you will, but if you would like my assistance in that, you're going to have to understand what I can tell you and what I can't. And if you would like further details, I'm going to need to know that I can trust you and your companions. You are relatively new to the city, correct?
Very.
Well, as that is the case, I have no one to refer to understand if you are a man of honor and if you truly care about the city as your daughter did, or if you are even truthful at all.
Wait, you can talk to two. We helped Mr. Volo Thump find his friend. A Mr. Floon, but we also saved a petty noble's son, Renaer. Both of them can speak for us.
Her eyes sort of seemed unimpressed for the first part, but as you mention Renaer's eyes, you do see just a twinkle of recognition and kind of a shift in the stoic form that has been in front of you. She kind of...
I'm sorry for getting upset, but you do have to understand. I can't not do anything.
She thinks
And everyone doesn't know anything and doesn't want to tell me anything, except that you might know something.
She drums her fingers, thinking, as she kind of drums them across the shaft of her staff. And eventually her eyes kind of come back to lock on yours, and their piercing gaze as she thinks and kind of studies your face. I see. Well, you certainly seem committed on your task, and I can appreciate that. Here's what I'll do. I have a few things that need to be done, and it will take me some time to contact Renaer and get an account from him. Would you be willing to handle a quick errand for me? And once I have talked with Renaer, we can discuss things further.
Durzen kind of deflates on himself a little bit.
Ezra will kind of just reach out and put her hand on Durzen's shoulder, so like, you know what? Whatever we can do, if we do this to get information, we want you to find your daughter, Durzen. So, whatever we can do.
And Pat sports out, will we get gold? and the daughter's information is good too. Yeah.
I'm not sure I've had the privilege to be acquainted to your companions. What are your
sorry
names?
for not introducing.
Well, Ezra kind of stands up and extends her hand, or at least, presents herself. My name is Ezra Drayden. Pleased to meet you.
Pleased to meet you as well, Ezra. She kind of extends her own hand and gives it a slight shake before looking over towards Pat's.
I'm Pat. No further explanation required.
Glad to make your acquaintance, Pat. And
Nice to meet you, I think. Yeah, I like this place. Very pretty.
I see. We treasure the appearance of Blackstaff Tower. We are quite proud of its history. I'm glad you can appreciate such things. And you, my dear. And she looks over towards Nadari, finally.
My name's Andari, and this is Cosmo, and she points to her shoulder.
Well, It's a pleasure to make both you and Cosmo's acquaintance.
We're definitely well, I'd say ragtag group, so not anybody quite like us.
But we get the job done.
You are quite intriguing. You certainly have caught my attention and interest. We hardly get any dragonborn within the city, much less one traveling with a half-orc, a drow, and...
A goblin. I'm a goblin.
Alright.
He says he's a goblin.
I am a goblin. The only true goblin that I've seen so far since I left the island. Don't understand it.
I will take your word for it. Well, it is a pleasure to meet you all, and this first errand is a simple task to retrieve some information. It will give me time to talk with Renaer and corroborate your story, and get a grasp of whether or not I believe I can trust you all, which I do hope that I can. And should you all be interested in continuing work for Force Grey and becoming one of the Grey Hands, there may be some gold in it for you. But we can discuss that once you all return. What I am asking you to do is seek out a man named Plum. He's a monk who lives in a cave on the side of the mountain. Ask him what he's heard about threats to the city, but try not to annoy him or overstay your welcome. Simple enough, right?
Sounds simple. So what's the give?
There is no give. Plum doesn't have much attention for outsiders, and I doubt he will give information willingly, so he might have to be well, you might have to spend some time or exchange some information of your own. How you choose to go about that is up to you. And it will take some time to climb up the mountainside, time where I can get Renaer over here to discuss with him. By the time you go back, I will have a decision, should you have the information for me.
Well, I could use a good hike, stretch my legs, climb some mountains.
Yeah, it would help me calm down some. But before I go, I just want your word, ma'am, that you're doing all you can. I understand it's confidential, and I understand you can't tell me. Just that you're doing what you can for her.
You can rest assured, Durzan, that I am doing all I can to make sure that each and one of my employees are coming home safe to their family. And I want to know exactly where they are and what they are doing and what their status is. That is practical. Outside of that, I do have a familiarity with Avila, and I wish no harm to come to her, and I wish her to be home sooner rather than later. I am doing what I can to bring her back.
Damn it, I know. I've been on your end of this before. This end is much harder.
I do understand that.
But no. Thank you. I'll trust in you and in my daughter.
Well, I feel that is all we can do at the moment, unfortunately. But am confident that you all will return, and hopefully with information and after talking to Renaer, we can move forward and perhaps we can help each other and get Avila home as soon as possible.
It's the most we can hope for, it seems.
Wonderful. Then I look forward to seeing you upon your return. You can come in here. The guards will let you in as soon as you return. She kind of stands up from her desk and kind of gives a wave towards the door for you all.
Alright, we'll file our way out, or at least Ezra will.
Alright.
Yeah, Durzan will nod at her and leave.
With, waving and thanking her. It was nice to meet you, Miss Vajra.
Lovely to meet you all as well. hopefully we can meet again soon. And you all continue to file out, and Nadari, as you're about to head through the door, she kind of catches your arm. Excuse me. If you might for a moment. Could I inquire, have you encountered any other drow within the city?
There were a few at a table at a tavern that we've been to. Why?
Did they make your acquaintance?
No, I don't believe so. I just viewed them from afar, as anyone does when walking in a tavern full of people. The people watching is just fantastic.
Indeed. Well, thank you for satisfying my curiosity. And
I do have to ask. Why do you ask me of such thing? Is there something that they've done?
Perhaps it's something that I'm looking into. Just be careful who you make acquaintances with. It would be a shame for such a lovely girl to get involved with nasty business.
I'm glad that at least your judgments seem to not be based upon race and more on the actions of said individuals.
No, I deal with many adventurers and the like. I'm quite used to having people from all sorts of races and backgrounds. But, well, I just like to keep my eyes and ears open, you see.
And Dari smiles and... Well, I promise if there's anything that we can help with, if it's within reason, I'd be happy to keep an eye out for you if you'd like.
She nods. Thank you. Perhaps we can talk about this more at another time. For now, you
Sounds
have a mountain
lovely.
to climb. She kind of gives you a wide smile.
Yeah, I might have to convince one of the bodyguard-like type people to carry me for a few feet, but we'll see.
You see her kind of crack a thin smile before she turns to head back to her desk.
He shoots her a wink and waves before leaving with Cosmo to catch up with the others.
Alright, and as you head out of the tower, you do see as Torunn has appeared kind of moving up the streets towards you all, as she kind of dusts herself off back from discussing further expenses with the guild representatives.
So I see are we going somewhere?
We're climbing a mountain.
Climbing a mountain,
Yeah,
alright.
mountain climbing.
Woo!
I've only
in the city.
I've only climbed the one mountain. It's a pretty good mountain. Back on the island where I'm from. It's where all the good herbs are. Lots of practice.
Mostly mountains. Didn't spend much time there, really.
Durzan, I couldn't hear anything you just said.
Well, sorry. Yes. Back home's mostly mountain. Didn't spend much time there anyway.
Well, I spent most of my life growing up in fields and forest, but I'm always down for an adventure.
All right, which way's the mountain?
Up.
Yeah, Durzan just kind of points a claw, and you look down to the south, Ezra, and there's just this massive mountain that just grows out of the side of the city and kind of looks out over the nearby bay.
Well, alrighty then. Looks like we got our work cut out
that
for us.
mountain.
All right, so are you all heading up?
Sounds like it.
Okay. So as you all begin to head south, kind of making your way through the castle ward and out to the paths that lead up to Mount Galifar, it does seem like this is more of a kind of landmark and kind of almost a park. There's what looks like gardens kind of in between, as the mountain kind of lies wedged in between the palace and the keep itself. And there are people kind of using this as kind of a morning jog or walk to keep in shape. And there are more adventurous climbers who are in the process of hiking up to the peak. The base seems pretty active, though higher up it does seem to trickle out to maybe 1 or 2 people. As you kind of look up this immense mountain, it's probably going to take a few hours to get up to the peak.
Anyone want to have lunch first?
Sounds like a good idea.
I'm all
Restore
for
our
that.
strength.
All right. So looking
Yeah.
around, is there any place in particular that you'd like to try and go?
I was wanting to see if there's any like street vendors or. Whatever I'm getting.
Kind of looking around, it doesn't seem that there are too many street vendors here. You do know, and actually you can kind of see that there's a large market not too far away from Blackstaff Tower, where there are just hundreds, if not thousands of people all spread through a very large open area, where there are dozens of tents and things set up. That is a short walk from Blackstaff Tower.
That seems like a lot of people, though.
There are indeed a lot of people.
I'll venture into the crowd to get some food. Who's with me?
All right, let's go. Gotta fuel up before our hike.
Pat,
we're good
to go.
Pat jumps on Torunn's shoulders. Yeah, let's go.
All Erzin pulls the shield and act as the plow.
Crowd control.
Just plow through everybody.
All right.
The kebabs.
So as you all begin heading through the streets, you see 2 large temples over to your left that kind of stretch up before you finally make it to this market area, which is a large portion of the city dedicated to this, and there are just tents and buildings all around spread through. As you kind of begin to push through the dense crowd, you can you smell spices and food. You waft all sorts of different scents, from extravagant and exotic to things that you're more familiar with. Kind of passing in, there are 2 large buildings on the edge of the market. One seems to be sort of like a large guild hall, and the other is a city watch post. But once you enter the market, it is just dozens, or actually rather hundreds, of these colorful tents, and kind of encircled by buildings that are more slightly more consistent and established. And you quickly pass in and you see all sorts of different vendors passing out everything from small like fried rat tails to things that they're calling basilisk gizzards and monster eye. There are all sorts of treats and things to try.
Pat is in heaven.
Let's say, so what Pat cooks is normal. Good to know.
At least here.
I feel like
Now-
Pats is like going around asking for recipes and
I
what
feel
they
like
see
Pats
the
knows a
chat
bunch
with.
of these people already.
As you guys kind of look at them, they seem to be mostly a misnomer and sort of to draw attention, and not necessarily actual ingredients of those things, but more just food stylized to look like that or appear like that.
Sure. Knockoffs. That's
But there are
Work.
scattered in a few things that look questionable. You're like, maybe this is the real thing.
I'm gonna kind of skeptically look over at some of these basilisk gizzards and ask the vendor, what exactly is this really?
Well, you see, it is the gizzard of a basilisk that was slain within the deserts to the south. They are located in the throat, and it is the gland that actually allows them to break down the stone of the creatures that they petrify, so that they can imbibe the creatures and sustain themselves.
You know, that is quite a story.
How did you prepare it, though?
Well, they've been dried, removed of their toxins, laid out in a spice kind of marinade, and then we have set them to marinate for about 6 days over the travel, and then they've been prepared with a bit of aromatics, and once the week-long process is done, then all of the toxins are gone, and it is quite a bit spicy, but a quite delicate thing to eat. The halflings from the Talenta Plains absolutely loved them.
Sounds
Does
like a
it taste like
respectable
chicken?
choice.
It sounds fantastic, but I'm a little skeptical as to how you went and killed a bunch of basilisks.
Well, you would have to ask my supplier. I only sell these. I'm not responsible for obtaining them, you see. I'm sure it's fascinating, though.
How big are these things?
They're maybe about a couple inches.
Oh. Okay, I was picturing like 60-foot basilisk with like a couple foot long kind of like gizzard brisket thing.
So these are
Oh my
appetizers.
like a gizzard steak.
Yeah,
So these are
kind
these are snacks. These are not, a whole family meal type
they're
of thing.
they're kind of small skewers that are served in kind of
Like a
three.
kebab.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll take 2 gizzard kebabs.
Yeah, I'll take it. I'll take 2 of them too.
There's
Alright.
take 3.
Yeah, I was about to say, if Pat's is getting 2, I'm getting 3.
Well,
Hey, I gotta save room for the other stalls.
they're five copper pieces apiece. So, what's silver from you? A silver from you? A silver and a half for each of you two. And he begins putting them on what seems to be a small, almost like leaf that kind of holds them together, and kind of hands them to you with a small dollop of sauce on the corner of the leaf. I hope you enjoy.
Thank you. Now I'm curious if there's anything to drink around here. Of the non-alcoholic variety, for the moment.
You kind of look across, and there are small stations that kind of are set up as like water stations, but you also see multiple different things that look like impromptu bars that are kind of set up with materials that look like they could be torn down quickly, that seem to be giving out drinks of all sorts.
Okay, I guess I'll check out one of these impromptu improvised bars. Then.
It takes about a good 15 minutes of standing in line before you finally get to the front, and a woman kind of looks down. What can I get you, sir?
Do you have any mead?
We do. I apologize, Madame. I couldn't tell through all the armor, of course. We do have some mead.
All right, I'll take a pint.
A pint of mead, coming right away. And she kind of moves back and kind of holds up a small, a pint-sized glass towards you on the counter, and kind of holds out a hand. That'll be 3 copper pieces.
All right, I'll pull out the copper out of my wallet, or out of my wallet, I guess. I don't know what I'm carrying my money in, honestly. And drop them on the counter and take the pint glass.
Happy
Or the mug.
shopping. She kind of waves you off.
Yeah, that'll work, Pets.
What other, like, vendor type deals are around here?
Go ahead and give me a perception check, Nadari.
Also, I'm pumping cough drops to make it through.
Oh,
I'm making
Oh
it.
no.
Woo, just no wraps today, guys.
Alright, as you kind of look around, you see multiple different buildings that are all kind of lit up with magnificent displays in various colors. The first thing that immediately grabs your attention towards the center of the market is a large purple orb that kind of hovers above the market. You haven't quite seen anything like this. It looks like it's made of canvas or of paper, and there are just large, vibrant gold and silver letters that are written across the front of this orb that say Kobold or Go Home Wilderness Supply Store.
Oh my goodness.
Looking.
Let's
going.
go that way.
I'm
We've
running.
been to a
I
fire
am
purple shop
booking it.
before. Let's go.
You all look up as Ndari is in full sprint, with
Uh-oh.
Cosmo hanging on, shaking up and down on her shoulder. as she
Ezra
is in
runs in
full
tail
sprint.
immediately.
Torunn looks around for a
One
second to try to
final
figure out, is Nadari running
kebab in her
from something
hand.
or to something? And then
You hear,
follows
"Woo!"
toward
while
the
she's
orb.
running.
There's just gonna calmly walk.
Patch just finishes ordering all of his food from the different vendors and see his party members just running across the plaza, and so now he just like jumps from person to person to catch up.
Torrunn's not running.
Crazy.
She's chugging her mead as she's walking, very carefully.
All right. So as Nadari and Ezra kind of make their way here first, but everyone quickly following, you do kind of get a better picture, and there is a large crowd gathered around this. What looks like I said, a large kind of canvas or paper orb that is kind of taking up part of the skyline and kind of held down by ropes to a small basket. And in front of that basket, you see a multicolored, but all kind of different shades of purple, this tent that is kind of set up, and another, a large wooden sign across the front that has the same words, kobold or go home, written across the front. And there are multiple individuals kind of huddled around this, and you see tables kind of laid out in front of this small tent, and there you see a small gnomish figure with large beard and mustache that is just kind of flipped up at the ends of this brilliant blonde, and his hair kind of lays tangled down behind him as he's kind of looking at everyone and somehow handling 4 or 5 conversations at the same time, but you still kind of find yourselves on the outside of this of the edge of this group.
My
I wanna
eyes
look
are
up-
just lit up.
What were you saying, Torunn?
I want to look around and see if I can find some sort of like climbing equipment, like a. I'm blanking on the word, but the grappling equipment to climb.
I
feel like that might be useful for climbing up the. Yeah, that. Thank you. I forgot English for a second.
Yeah, are you looking just around the market in general, or around this specific store?
No, at Kobold's, trying to see if I can find anything. It's supposed to be wilderness equipment, so see if I can find just in case we need it for the climb up the mountain.
All right, go ahead and roll me a perception check, Torunn. All right. You kind of look across the tables that are spread out, and your face is kind of scowls in confusion a bit. You were expecting to see things like rations and backpacks and climbing equipment and boots and things like that, but as you look across, you see just a wild assortment of items. You see a small box that's kind of opened up, and you see very vibrant small containers and what look to be almost like brushes of feathers and made out of feathers and flowers and insects, all kind of contained in this small wooden box. You see cloaks and helmets. You see some utensils that are kind of scattered across the ground. You see hats and rings and bracelets, stones and weapons, all sorts of various equipment. That all seems to be quite extravagant and extreme.
Well, that sounds useless. Can I see? Okay, let me look around the rest of the market then, see if I can find anything in terms of climbing equipment. I just feel like we're going to need it.
Yeah, sure thing. So you kind of look across and not seeing too much that kind of catches your eye. You begin to head back into the rest of the market to see if you can find what you're searching for. In the meantime, we've got Nadari and Ezra. You kind of pushed your way to the front of this kind of crowd and kind of look out, and eventually this small gnomish figure does make his way over in your direction, and you kind of get a good look at him, and he can't be more than maybe 2.5, 3 feet tall, and this thin mustache is kind of curled up around the corners of this large nose as he just kind of looks at you curiously. Well, hello. What can I do for you lovely ladies? And it's strange because as he's talking to you, he seems to be addressing each one of you individually, but also as a pair and also talking with 2 other people at the same time. But you still feel as if you have his full attention.
Ezra's just overwhelmed and just needs to look around at all the stuff. She's not really interested in buying stuff. She chased Indarian there.
Well, I can see your eyes are still scattered across the many wonderful things that we have here at Kobold's. So please, take your time and look across my wares, and let me know if you have any inquiries. As for you, my dear, what is your eye or mind desire?
What is the most interesting thing you have? Something with a story behind it. Something fascinating.
Oh, my dear, all of my items have stories behind them, and each one as interesting as the next, of course. What is intriguing
I love
is
this place.
how it affects you and what captures your interest. What you need for the moment, or perhaps what fate has deemed to bring you.
So do I just look for what I gravitate to then?
That, my dear, is up to you.
I assumed you were the expert here.
Oh, I am the expert in each and every one of those items, but what captures your eye, what captures your interest, what you are drawn towards, that only you can tell.
Alright, Austin, do I see anything exceptionally interesting or unique or
Purple.
or...
Surprisingly, as you look across some of the items that are scattered, there's not too many that you see that are purple. You do see one that is purple. You see within the wooden box that I described, there's kind of small containers of different colors. Kind of almost there's about like 10 different colors, and you do see one as a very vibrant purple color. But outside of that, there's actually not a lot of purple items here.
Is there anything like super interesting or unique looking that's just like can't pass up?
Go ahead and give me a perception check.
Sorry for the vague question. Oh, well.
Looking across, it's kind of overwhelming at first. There are just... It's hard to pick out one thing in particular because everything is kind of varied and unique in its own ways. You kind of see a small piece of bronze metal with a glowing kind of reddish pink gem inside. You see what almost looks like a hook with kind of straps to attach to a hand. You see a staff that kind of pulses with this black energy. You see a small compass that seems to kind of spin in different directions. There's a large red feather. There's a lantern that has kind of a bluish glow to it. You see a syringe that like a mechanical metal syringe that has some sort of green liquid within it. You see a small ceramic ball with what looks like a small string coming out of it. There are scrolls, there are weapons, there's armor. There are many things kind of scattered across this.
Babe, is that thing with a string coming out of it a yo-yo?
It does not look like a yo-yo. It looks closer
Damn.
to a bomb.
I was really hoping it was a yo-yo. It's okay though.
Is there anything that it looks like Pats can use to cook with? Like either like an ingredient or a utensil?
Actually, you do see what looks to be a glass jar with kind of a metallic lid on top that seems to have some sort of dust inside of it. It looks like it could be like spices or some sort of dried food.
Ooh, shopkeep, what's this? What's this? What's this? And I point towards the jar.
Oh, well, this is a vial of fish dust. It's
Ooh,
captured
I like fish.
from many exotic breeds throughout all of the 5 kingdoms and beyond. It has many magical properties as well as providing an exquisite taste to certain dishes.
Perfect, I'll take it.
Alright, that'll be 5 gold pieces.
5 whole dollary dues.
Indeed,
I hand 'em
my
over.
items are exquisite.
$5 dude.
Alright, so you can go ahead and add a jar of fish dust to your inventory.
I've always wanted one of those. Jar of fish.
Pats, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not going to eat anything with something called fish dust in it.
Well, you don't like fish or dust? Shame.
Not in that order.
But you prefer dusty fish?
Yeah, I realized that right after I said that. That doesn't make any sense.
Don't worry, I can get you some of that if you want. Whenever we get back to the tavern tonight.
Oh god.
Thanks, Pats. Appreciate it.
The cooking process of the basilisk gizzards, it inspired me. It's so versatile. I like it.
Of course you do.
So in a week, I'll get you some dusty fish.
Cool. Thanks.
You will not sway him from this.
I shouldn't have said anything. Torunn is regretting opening her mouth.
Alright. Anyone else looking for anything? Or anything catch their eye or ear?
Curious about the staff, but also let me know if there's anything night sky looking.
The staff. There was a wand. Did I say staff on accident?
You said
I don't remember
staff
which-
with black energy or something
Oh,
like that.
Yeah.
That should have been wand. Sorry, that was my bad.
Ooh,
Ah.
Still intriguing. Want
Okay.
to look at it.
Um,
Probably regret it, but it's okay.
So, Nadara, you don't see anything with the night sky. However, you do see a small pedestal of gold, and resting on it is a large, it's a large oval, almost egg-shaped in a way, that is maybe about 8 to 10 inches tall, and it seems to be. It almost looks like you're looking at the sky. There is just a crystal clear blue hue to it, and there seems to be wisps
Okay, yeah.
of smoke or cloud just passing across the surface in different directions.
I'll start walking towards the wand, and then as soon as I see that, I'm running to that.
All right, and so you kind of make your way over towards that portion of the table, and as soon as you kind of get there, the gnome seems to almost just appear in front of you and just kind of looks towards you. So I see your eyes caught something indeed.
What is that?
Well, this is a sky stone, of course.
A sky stone?
You've never seen one of these before.
I don't think I have.
Well, let me tell you. This stone is fused from planar energy. Far, far away from the material plane, there are many other planes that capture different essences, different aspects of the world that you see around you. This one contains within it the aspect of Serania, the azure sky, an endless plain of open air. Within it lies almost immeasurable magical power.
Oh, I liked a lot of those words, but a lot of those words typically mean more expensive.
This is indeed quite an expensive item. I'd probably be looking on the order of about 1,500 gold pieces.
Yikes.
Unfortunately, my pockets are not that heavy, but at least I got to see it.
Well, perhaps you can tell me what sort of price range you're interested in, and I can direct your attention.
Well, I don't want to insult any of your wonderful knickknacks, though.
Oh, my dear, I get many individuals. Your pure interest is far more attention than most of them truly get.
Truly?
Indeed.
Are you
I mean,
just
look at
saying
the
that now?
Look at the riffraff around you. Do you think any of these people truly understand the magnificence captured within many of these items?
Can I roll insight to see if this guy is just trying to get me to buy shit or if he's genuine?
Sure. Go ahead and give me an insight check.
Oh my god. I am the best thing that's walked in here for
You are just captured by his smooth words, and it's crazy. He almost seems to be insulting people, but they don't seem to be paying him any attention or any mind. And in this moment, kind of the rest of the loud marketplace almost fades away as you continue to focus on this small person who's just captured your interest almost as much, if not equally, to the items that scatter across the table around him.
Well, I do travel a lot, so I don't think it'd be very practical for me to carry around something so big and luxurious, or I don't really trust leaving it somewhere. Maybe something smaller?
Well, I do offer an intriguing offer for anyone with, well, minimal funds, but maximum interest. If you are interested, for 50 gold pieces, I'll give you a coin that you can put into a machine, and it will randomly select an item for you.
Don't have 50 gold, but that sounds really cool. I'm not sure if I put that much faith into the fates.
Well, should you find that your interest or funds should change anytime soon, please feel free to visit Klimek at Kobold or go home again. I'll be here every day.
I'm sorry, I'm trying not to just nerd out right now. Yeah, I'm just gonna kind of like make a sad face and jingle my pocket that doesn't have that much gold in it. Is there anything that is obviously not as expensive? Or like, you know, the clearance bin in the back of the store? Or...
These all seem to be pretty extravagant and exquisite items. You get the feeling that most of them are going to be fairly expensive. Pretty much the only thing that looks like it might have been a clearance item is the one that Pat's picked up.
Dari just looks incredibly disappointed. She was jumping up and down, running around like, look at this, look at that! And then she just kind of waddles up to the rest of the group, looking colossally disappointed.
And Pat's is just all smug.
Durzin has finally finished his last kebab.
Sad face is sad.
All right. So you all stand in the market after getting some food and some drink, and unfortunately not having as much success with the item acquisition. Torunn, you were able to look through, and you did find a merchant who was selling rope and pythons. Let me flip through and find that for you real fast.
Excellent.
All right. So it looks like there's two different kinds of rope that they sell here. One is just typical hempen rope that comes in increments of 50 feet for a gold piece for 50 feet, and you can get it in whatever length you want. And then there's silk rope that comes in increments of 10 feet. That is 2 gold pieces per 10-foot section, and comes in lengths up to 50 feet. And then for the pythons, they come in groups of 10, I believe. Yeah, they come in groups of 10, and they are, looks like 5 silver pieces for 10.
Okay. All right, I'd like to buy 150 feet of hempen rope.
Okay.
And let me think. 3 sets of pythons. So I think that's 3 gold and 15 silver.
That is correct. Anything
Figured that'll
else?
be enough for the whole party to use a little bit if needed.
Yep.
That was the main thing I was looking for. I heard climbing. I haven't done a lot of climbing in my day, but I know that rope is often helpful on mountains.
That is very true.
I'd rather be prepared.
And you actually find this in kind of a section that does seem to be specifically catered to those who look like they're going to venture up the mountain, and they have miscellaneous equipment like hiking boots and rope and pythons and things like that.
Okay.
As it seems to be a decently common thing for thrill seekers to kind of try and make their way up to the peak.
Makes sense. Cool. Well, that was all I was looking for, is some rope and pythons. So
All right. Anyone else?
I'm happy to rejoin the party.
Anyone else have anything that they wanted to look for while in the market, or are you guys ready to head to the mountain?
There is
Zari's finished her kebabs and she's ready to go.
Yeah, Pat's finished his kebab and his rat tail and whatever the other thing was. He liked the gizzards best.
They did have a very interesting, spicy kind of taste to them.
And he makes a note in his mind to go back to the vendor and ask what the spice mixture was at some point.
All right. So, as you guys make your way out of the marketplace and back into the castle ward, heading south, you eventually find the path through the gardens that kind of begins the trek up towards the mountain. And like I said before, you do see multiple individuals kind of gathered around the base. In the first few hundred feet or so, there are quite a few people kind of passing back and forth along the paths. As you continue to make your way up, it takes maybe about an hour or two before the crowd thins out from a good maybe 5 to 10 people around you at all times to an occasional person passing by every 10 to 15 minutes. You guys kind of begin to feel the incline steepen a little bit, and it's still a clear path, but it's gone from a wide kind of 5 to 10 foot gravel and dirt path to a small foot wide trail up through the kind of brush and wood. So go ahead and everybody make me athletics checks.
Hold on. I have this. Let me see if it matters. If I have a climbing speed.
Hey, 21 buddies.
Hey,
Yeah, I'll say that you don't even need to make this check.
stomping
Pats.
through.
Perfect.
Sorry, why are we making the athletics? Are we on the mountain?
Yep, you guys are climbing up.
Okay. Let me fail it miserably. Can we do acrobatics?
Nope.
Phooey. Can I use my inspiration to
Ezra, Scoop, and
You
Daria.
can use your inspiration.
Hooray!
And thank you for the reminder. I would like to.
Hooray!
I would like to award Durzin inspiration for his interactions with the Blackstaff. And then, Nadari, I'll go ahead and let you refill that inspiration for your stuff from the market.
Yeah, I just gotta remind you of stuff more often.
Exactly.
As I fall off the mountain.
Yeah.
Whee!
So your guy, between Torunn, who's still, despite getting equipment, is still in her pretty heavy armor and kind of has her shield and hammer with her, and Nadari, who is just as lovely as she just is not equipped for high altitudes. And you guys have made it about halfway up this mountain, but your pace is severely starting to drag at this point, and it's slowing you down. And after your extent in the market, you can see the sun is starting to get a little bit lower, and it's starting to get closer to like 4 or 5 o'clock, and you guys are about halfway up it.
Come on, guys. Why are you so slow?
You having problems there, Nadari? It's just a mountain.
Would you like some help?
Torrn's gonna attempt to help Nadari, but is also not as sure-footed as she'd like to be herself.
Well, I am equipped for several things. This is not one of them.
Well, that's fine. Here, I'll give you a hand. Just said something.
I was trying to approach it with a can-do attitude, but that is long since left. I will now take assistance, thank you.
Okay. All right.
All right. So as you guys continue up the side of the mountain, the incline getting steeper, the path getting shorter, those around you
As
getting
the-
more sparse.
As the incline gets steeper, Durzin's going to move to the bottom of the group in case anyone trips.
Alrighty.
Tor-
And- yep.
Torunn's going to go ahead and get out a length of rope and try to see if there's anywhere she can tie it to for people to hold on to as we're going up the steeper part of this incline.
And Pat is like climbing up. He's showing everyone where the correct handholds are
Having no problem.
and all that jazz.
Of course.
So are you trying to tie it to the mountain or to each other?
To the mountain. I want to see if there's anywhere that I can can I throw a
How
titan to try to
steep are we
grab
still
grab
able to
something,
walk
so
up
just to give
normally,
us something
or
to guide
be
to hold on to.
climbing?
Yeah. So this incline, while it's steep and while it's it's more just over the course of hours that this is taking its toll on you. It's not overly difficult to make your way up where the rope would help
Oh,
all
okay.
that
So
much.
we're not going up a cliff yet.
No, you're not
necessarily.
going up a cliff face. It's just a heavy
Okay.
incline that you're hiking up, and so over the process
Gotcha.
of an hour or two, it's starting to build up and become more and more difficult. And so right now, all it's done is just slowed you guys down a little bit.
Okay. I'll hold on to the rope then.
But yeah, as you guys continue this, who said that they were helping Nadari?
I'm
Everybody?
trying to help out.
Well,
I
yeah,
think we're all helping her a little bit.
So
I offered a piggyback ride, but I didn't hear any yes or no. So
yeah, out of context, you guys can RP it however you want, but like specifically for mechanics in this instance, one person will have to be helping for this portion, and it'll have it.
Durzin will just move to the bottom of the pack. Then.
okay, I'll
anyone
go ahead and
fall?
help then.
Okay. All right, so we're gonna have everybody go ahead and roll me another athletics check. And Ezra, you'll
Oh,
roll
boy.
at disadvantage, and Nadari, you'll roll at advantage.
Okay.
Do I need to roll?
No, you don't.
Perfect.
Is Hannah still here?
I am. I'm sorry. I was having technical difficulties.
Oh,
I
you're
roll at
okay.
advantage.
Yes, you roll at
Yes, ma'am.
advantage.
Ta-da!
Ah!
Wow, that turned around.
Oh, you got carried so good.
Yeah, so
Didn't even need advantage.
Well, dang.
with a little bit of assistance this time, Nadar, you're starting to get your feet and feel it underneath you. Kind of using Ezra's strength to get through the hard parts. You're like, oh, this isn't so difficult. And Ezra kind of lets you feel your full weight, and you're like, oh, maybe I was wrong, but it's okay. And together you kind of help each other as you pass forward and kind of continue up this incline, now kind of regaining a bit of the time that you had lost. And Nadari, as you're kind of going through this climb, you start to realize you don't know where you're going. You haven't asked for any directions. She told you that this person lived on the mountain, but you're not sure where on the mountain. You're not sure if you passed it, if it's on the peak, or where it's at. You've just kind of begun to take this path, so you kind of find some of the hikers and begin to ask questions, and it takes about 3 or 4 of them before someone's actually heard of this Thlam, and they kind of give you directions that you say you're on the rough track that just before you get to the peak, once the trees kind of clear out, you kind of break off and there's another path that leads off to where this hermit seems to live. And with directions, you guys feel a little bit better and begin to make the next portion. The evening still is continuing on, and now that it is the springtime, so as it gets to about 5 or 6 o'clock, that sun is kind of beginning to start to set a little bit. And so you guys are getting a little bit worried on time, but are still kind of, you've made it almost to the top now, and once you break the tree cover, you kind of head off on this path that Nadari kind of points out, and you do make it find the path, but unfortunately the path ends up running up towards one of the steeper parts of the mountain, and you do see what almost looks like a straight incline for about 100 feet. That kind of reaches up, but you can see that just past it does seem to be a small shack kind of tucked into the woods.
Of course, there'd be a big ass wall.
Oh boy.
And how close was it to dark, did you say?
You guys have maybe about another hour before it's fully dark, but the sun is already starting to set down.
We should
and-
still be able to see pretty well.
Yeah, you guys still
Even
have
though
decent.
Great, we should just keep going.
You guys still have decent
not
vision
bad.
here. Durzin, it's starting to get a bit difficult for you to see, but being as high as you are, you guys do have a bit more light than people down in the city. So you do have maybe about an hour before it fully becomes dark, and it's about a half hour before it becomes dim.
How long does Durzin think it would take him to climb this wall?
Kind of depends. It's not a sheer cliff face, but it is definitely it's nearly vertical, and it's not completely smooth. There are some rocks and handholds you can try and make your way up. Theoretically, if you can climb well, it should be relatively easy. 100 feet is a little intimidating, but it's certainly not incredibly difficult. It's not like if you fall, it's going to be a free fall, but it's definitely not going to be pleasant if you fall. But it doesn't look impossible.
Well, may I suggest, Durzin, if you and I want to head up the rear, my amulet can glow and hopefully provide enough light for the both of us. Well,
I
for
was
you, I
thinking
guess,
since
more than
we
me.
got the rope, some of our better climbers, maybe you and me, could head up there.
That
Yeah,
works
who's-
for me too.
Who's the best at climbing? I will give you my rope to like get the
Um,
rope up there, and then you can
That's
pull the rest of us up.
me.
Yep,
That's-
there we go.
All right, I'm gonna pull out the rope. I'm gonna just hand it to Pats with a couple of pythons and tell him to just get up there, and and
You got it, boss man.
tied to something.
Okay. All right, I start climbing the cliff, and I start placing the rope in a place where it would be easiest for my fellow compatriots to climb up
All right.
with minimal effort, with good handholds and all that.
For this one, go ahead and roll me either in athletics or acrobatics at advantage, Pats.
Okay. Ugh.
Yikes!
Oh,
Ugh.
All right, so Pats, you kind of begin to climb, and at first it's not difficult at all. You've climbed trees, you climbed ship's rigging, it's not too hard. But eventually, as you get maybe about 20 feet up into the air, the rope that Torunn gave you, it's pretty heavy. It's probably about 30 pounds, and it kind of throws someone, especially of your stature, it throws you off just enough where you start to feel yourself kind of, your grip isn't as tight as it was. You're starting to feel yourself off balance. You kind of catch yourself before anything major happens and before you're knocked down, but you know if you go too much higher, it's going to get more and more difficult. So you're about a quarter of the way up right now.
Okay.
Durzin's gonna get ready to catch Pats.
Yeah,
Yeah, this
Torrance
cliff face is,
keeping an eye out too.
A bit rougher than I thought. Let's see. What can I do here? None of my spells do anything.
Do you need me to come get you?
I'm thinking. I could try muscling through, but don't see any other better way. The only other thing I can think of is using my crossbow to shoot up the rope the entire way up, but it's only a light crossbow, so I don't know.
Yeah, it'd be a very difficult shot with the weight of the rope, and you'd probably have to do it from the ground, as if you
Yeah.
release your arms, you're probably going to fall.
Alright, I'm gonna go get him. He's gonna fall.
Yeah, I'm gonna try climbing. Or do I need to roll another check for that, or?
You said you're going to continue climbing higher?
Yeah, I'm gonna try climbing higher.
Yep, go
Oh,
ahead.
I got this.
Go ahead and
Okay.
give me an athletics or acrobatics, this time straight.
Straight. Okay. Oh my goodness.
Oh.
well.
Hey, it's consistent at least.
And Durzin,
Let's go.
Durzin, you said you're heading up too?
Yeah, and Durzin's going to plant his pickaxe when he's climbing, so he'll slam it into the ground, climb up some, test it out.
And Pat's actually has done a decent job of putting in these pythons, so the first 25 feet or so, the rope is kind of anchored to the wall. So you can go ahead and give me an athletics or acrobatics at advantage as you kind of begin to climb up the wall.
Ezra's just
Hey.
Damn.
at the bottom, just in case. Ready. Oh,
Yeah,
no
and
need.
Really no trouble at all between the pickaxe or the axe and the rope that's already in. You just kind of work your way up like an ice climber, just coming up the wall, and you make good progress. It's maybe 30 seconds to a minute before you're about 20 feet up on the wall, and then you just kind of look up to see where Pat's is at, and there is just this ball of white fluff that is just zooming towards your direction as Pat has slipped off from where he is and begins to tumble towards you. Go ahead and make me a strength save, Durzin.
Can do. Strength.
All right.
Nice.
So as you just kind of catch
Good
this, you have
mods.
just enough wherewithal to kind of lean back and kind of brace yourselves. As Pats kind of lands in your arms, you kind of brace him from the impact. Pats, you only suffer 2 bludgeoning damage from the kind of tumble down the side, and kind of look up to find Durzin as you both are about 25 feet up off the ground.
Wow, the first damage I've taken all campaign.
Oh, easy there now. I told you to be careful.
Oh, I was careful. It's just the cliff was angry at me. Thanks, boss man.
Alright. Now, I'll be here to help, but let's keep going. We need to get more rope set.
All right. Well, now I have both hands to place the rope, so it shouldn't be too bad.
You just stand on Durzin's shoulders while Durzin climbs.
Pretty much. I have a
Alright.
tail. I can do things.
Durzin, go ahead and give me a flat athletics or acrobatics check as you continue up the next portion, as kind of Pats is helping you put in pythons as you go.
Alright.
Yeah, and no problem.
dude.
You do a great job as you are just with this axe actually helps significantly
Strong
get
fighter.
just enough, and you're strong enough, and the stone wall seems decent enough. It seems like there's not too many places that are brittle enough to break away, and just using mostly physical strength, you just get into a groove, and over the next it only takes about a couple minutes as you work your way up this cliff face, and now you're about 75 feet up off the ground, and you can see a nice clean trail of rope where Pats has kind of put in the path behind you.
That's a good view up here. So we're about 25 feet away?
Yep.
Durzin's just going to continue on, I would think.
All right, one more athletics check.
Alright, let's see how I can fail. Oh,
Yeah.
hell
Yeah.
No problem at all. Durzin is
I
just
gave you
in the
all of my
groove.
power.
Yeah, Durzin is just in the groove, and as he works his way back up to the top, he kind of pulls himself up just easily up onto the top as if it was just a 10-foot leap for him rather than this 100-foot climb. And Pat's kind of skippers off his shoulder and attaches the last few pythons into the rock face. And with the full track kind of established, you all each individually kind of begin to make your way up. It's kind of slow going for some of you, but you're able, now that the path is kind of formed, you're able to make your way up over the course of the next 5 to 10 minutes, and everyone finds their way up onto this cliff face. Nandari, it was a bit difficult for you. You find yourself a little tired and worn out, but finally at the top, all 5 of you kind of look and see this small hut kind of tucked into the mountains here.
I'm gonna go ahead and go knock on the door.
Well, yeah, looks like we made it.
Well, looks like the
Time
place
to
we
pay
want
somebody a
be.
visit.
All right, Torunn, as you kind of come up to the door.
stop for a snack first?
I'm sure he's got snacks.
But will he share his snacks?
Probably not. I mean, if
Hey,
you
I
want to
have
head back
snacks.
down to the market, we can head back down to the market.
Don't you worry, I have snacks. And I pull out some candied almonds.
Oh my goodness, hell yeah.
There you go.
Nidari, you're not sure what the candy coating is, but they are quite sweet and savory.
And salty.
I have a very inappropriate comment, but I'll keep it to myself.
Alright.
Oh no, actually, now I can't compliment the almonds. They were good anyway.
They were good.
So as Nidari is dragging her feet and is quickly excited by the option of a tasty snack, Torunn kind of makes her way to the door. Goodness, and knocks on it. And before too long, the door kind of opens, and standing there, you see a man who is human, but must be in his 80s, maybe even 90s. He's bald with wrinkles. He has these long kind of green cloaks that are kind of draped over him, and these heavy white bushy eyebrows across his otherwise bare face, and he just kind of has a stern expression across his face. How can I help you all? I imagine you climbed up here with some purpose. Speak it and then be gone.
Torunn's gonna turn around and realize, hey, I actually don't remember what we were trying to get up here. What information are we looking for? Out of context.
Well, I'm pretty sure she said we just needed to come up here and get information from him.
And who would that be, my dragonborn friend?
That would be Raja Safar, the leader of Force Grey.
Ah, yes. She sometimes calls upon my wisdom from my many years. What does the Blackstaff request of me this time?
This is a bad player moment, but I don't remember.
Does anybody remember?
Want to say?
I joined right
But is-
after
yeah.
we were told to get information, so I actually don't. I have no
It
clue.
was like that if he knows of any like recent
anyone-
threats to the city or something. Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
If you guys aren't sure, you can also burn an inspiration point.
Oh, you know what? I will. I might as well. I've been holding on to mine for way too long.
All right, so Ezra, as you kind of call out this information and kind of relay the message from Vajra, kind of relaying that she told you to ask about any threats to the city,
Okay.
and you kind of also remember
damn, I
that
was
he
right.
also informed you to try not to annoy him or overstay your welcome.
Right. Okay. All right. It's all clear. So clear to me now.
And go ahead and roll me a persuasion check at advantage.
Oh, me? Oh boy. Okay. Persuasion. Oh.
Persuasion.
Oh, okay.
Oh, hey!
Nice.
All right, and with a bit of a charming smile and the helpful details, the man kind of breaks his grimace into a more neutral expression with just the ever so small hint of a smile at the edge of his lips. Very well, if it gets you off of my doorstep, go back and tell the Blackstaff that evil's twin hides its face for now, but expect that to change before winter's end.
Well, thank you very much, sir. We don't want to trouble you with anything else.
Of course. And he kind of looks over towards Torunn and Durzin. Did you get that message, or do I need to repeat it?
No, sir, I think I got it that time. But thanks.
We got it. Thank you.
No problem. In my old years, I do find it difficult to remember some things as well. He kind of, you see him give kind of a sly smile before turning around and giving a wave. Toodaloo! And the door softly shuts behind him.
So now we have to climb back down, right?
Yep.
Or actually, can we see any easier path down?
Looking around, this is the only path that you see.
Oh, it doesn't have a hidden
Yikes.
elevator.
It does not appear to be a hidden elevator.
I thought there might be like a back way, like down the back of like the hut area that doesn't require going around the wall, something like that. I don't know.
I can tell you they can invest in some carrier pigeons.
It's not a bad idea.
All right, and it is that sun is about halfway set, so there is about 30 minutes before it does become dark.
Sneezing. But Dari would go, I don't know about the carrying pigeons. Sometimes they like to give hungry eyes at Cosmo. He just kind of like squeaks in distress.
Oh, we wouldn't want that though.
He can always hide in my cloak, I suppose.
So, do we want to sleep up here, or want to sleep at the bottom? I'm not hiking through the mountain in the dark.
That probably wouldn't be a good idea.
Yeah, it probably is a better idea to like camp out up here for the night.
Because I know you guys can see, but it's a bit more difficult. My eyes don't quite work that well.
Are there any, caves or well, this is above the trees, I guess, right?
Yeah, this is
there
above
any,
the trees.
Outcropping or caves or overhang
You guys
nearby?
You guys are on really the main kind of outcropping. It's a good like 40 feet across and maybe about 60 to 70 feet long. You see a few other kind of smaller outcroppings scattered across the side of this cliff, but they might be difficult to get or climb to. Your nearby options are pretty much the landing that you're on or the path itself.
Did we find a secret passageway?
Nah, we're camping out for the night.
Oh boy, I love campouts.
Alright, so you guys all staying here then?
Yeah.
That's probably best.
Looks like it.
Alright. And up on this mountaintop, it is still early spring, and as the sun begins to set, you do see a bit of precipitation that does begin to fall as snow begins to fall as the night comes.
Boy, snow.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I'm guessing we
Dari
can't,
really likes it.
since we're kind of above the trees here. I'm guessing there's no like wood available that we could like light a fire with.
There's not a whole lot. The wood is relatively close. It's maybe about a 15-20 minute trek back down the path if you wanted to go and try and get some. But climbing up the cliff face even with the rope was going to be somewhat difficult.
Well, I have a couple of torches, so I guess for now, just to make it easy, I'll go ahead and just pull out 2 torches and light them. Just so that we have a little bit of light and warmth around here as we're starting to get settled down for the night.
Yeah,
Anderson's gonna pull out his bedroll.
the
wrap it
torches
around.
don't give off too much heat, but do give off about an hour's worth of light for each of them. So
Okay.
are you lighting them both at the same time, or are you kind of spreading them out?
No, I'll start with one, and Torn's going to volunteer to kind of take first watch too. Or actually, there's probably not anything dangerous up here, is there?
We should
You're not
still
sure?
keep watch, just in case.
Yeah, I'm gonna take first watch.
It is only about maybe 6 o'clock, 6:30 in the day.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah,
Really quick, I only have to meditate for like 4 hours, so I can definitely watch after I do my rest. So if that's a concern, I'm happy to watch after I wake up in a sense.
it's only 6 o'clock. Durzin would 100% go and get firewood.
Pat is foraging for anything edible.
You want to come with Durzin down to the
I was
forest?
about to say I'll go with
Oh,
Durzin as well to
yeah.
go get
So
some
Durzin will-
firewood.
Like take out some of the bigger parts of his pack so that he can fill that up with wood, so it'll be a little bit easier to carry.
Okay.
Pat's casts. Let me find out my sheet. Mage hand. I can carry 10 pounds.
Ooh.
Woo!
Let's
That'll be
go.
like a couple nice logs.
One log.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's something. But yeah, so
Better
you
than
kind of
nothing.
set down a bedroll, and Torunn kind of lights up a torch as she and Nadari kind of start making a rough campsite on the cliff edge. Meanwhile, Ezra and Durzin and Pats begin to head down and forage through. Go ahead and give me a survival or nature check, Pats.
I knew there was a reason I got proficiency in this skill.
Yeah. And as Ezra and Durzin kind of trade off using the axe and collecting miscellaneous firewood, you kind of make your way through the brush, kind of examining to see if you can find anything remotely edible, and kind of worming your way through the different underbrush here. You do find... let me pull this up. You do seem to find a few different... You find one kind of group of small mushrooms that are kind of white and tubular, and they kind of give off a very aromatic scent. You also seem to find some herbs or plants that seem to have almost like a glistening membrane to them that makes them appear like they're covered in kind of water. But they're small plants, maybe about a few inches, just kind of peeking out of the base of a few trees. And you do find a few other herbs nearby.
Delicious herbs and mushrooms. We're eating good tonight, guys. I call back to the rest of the group. I stick them all in my ingredient bag.
Sounds good, Pat. Help us get this wood up that mountain.
All right.
Got you, boss.
And so gathering up some of the firewood, you all begin to make your way back up the path and then up the cliff face. Durzin, since you're carrying kind of the brunt of it, go ahead and make me an athletics check again.
Can do.
Holy moly.
Dang,
Great.
Rolling
My
great
word.
today.
Adam's got the great dice tonight.
All right. So yeah, you guys make your way up, no problem. Pats, you kind of carry a few logs in one magical hand that kind of floats up with you all. And Durzin loads up most of them in his pack and kind of takes most of the load as he climbs up. Ezra, you kind of grab an armful of a few and kind of use the rope to guide your way up as well. And you come back with quite a bit of firewood after maybe about 45 minutes to an hour of gathering. In the meantime, Torunn and Nadari, as you're kind of sitting up here, Nadari kind of catching some snowflakes and Torunn kind of looking out. It's a few minutes before you notice a presence nearby, and kind of turning towards it, you do see the old man kind of standing nearby and kind of looking at you all. Well, if you all are going to be staying the night, would you at least like some tea?
Oh, that's very kind of you.
Are you
Yes,
sure
we
it wouldn't
really
be a
appreciate it.
bother?
It might be a bit of a
We,
bother, but
we don't want to impose.
I would hate for you all to be cold out here. The nights on the mountain get very frigid.
Is there some way that we could help you with it?
No need, my dear, but I appreciate. I've got plenty of ingredients. It'll just take me a few moments to brew it. Do you need any help lighting your fire, or do you have enough materials?
I
Frozen
think.
will pull out
I
his
th-
tinderbox.
Yeah, did you guys make it back up to the top yet?
Yeah, they've just made it back up.
Okay, sorry.
I can prestidigitate a fire. So. Just like
I've
halfway
got a
down.
tinderbox too, but
Yeah.
And no, I think we're all right, but thank you. The tea would be fine.
Of course. Kind of gives a nod, and you see he's kind of leaning over, but when he walks, it's not hobbly or kind of warped. It's very smooth. And if you didn't know any better, it would almost look elegant in a way, as he kind of just drifts back into his hut. And over the next 10 minutes or so, you all gather and begin to light the fire and gather the firewood nearby. And eventually, it's roaring a decent heat, and you all are much warmer, much better lit over here on this precipice. And you can see the snow falling a little bit heavier now nearby. But the ledge above you kind of gives you enough cover where it's not falling directly on you or on the flames. But it is quite a pretty experience looking out as the moonlight kind of dances across the surface of the bay nearby, and you can see the silhouettes of the many ships docked in the harbor and all of the buildings down below in the city. And eventually Halam does come with a few ceramic cups that he gives to each of you, and then brings out a pot and fills it up with a warm liquid. And tasting it, it's a very herbal tea. It's very earthy and strong, but at the same time, it's very calming, and it certainly warms you up. It's not too hot, and as you sip it, it almost gives you the same feeling on the inside as like an alcohol, just warming your insides, but without any bite of the actual alcohol.
No, that's lovely.
Oh, this is a delight.
You
It's
spend
like a
enough
big
time.
warm blanket.
You spend enough time up here, you learn how to make things that warm the belly. Well, I hope you all have a good evening and a safe trip down in the morning.
thank you.
Sir, you have a good night.
Gives a slight nod, makes his way back inside his small cabin. As you all sit looking out at this scene, is anyone going to take watch throughout the evening?
Durzin will take first watch while he's doing his breakdown and cleanup that he always does every night.
Alright, Durzin, go ahead and roll me a perception check.
Mm-hmm.
Looking out over the mountain through the evening, Durzin, it's very quiet and serene. You can see the city far below, and from here it looks far more peaceful than it even seems oftentimes through the streets. As you're watching, the evening goes without too much occurrence. But you do notice about halfway through your watch as there's a commotion, maybe a few 100 feet away from you. You kind of look over towards it, and you see 3 or 4 large shadows just emanate out of the mountain and take to the sky. You watch as these silhouettes kind of pass over the sky before descending down over the city. And you see large armored griffins with their city guard riders descend out down to some portion of the city on some assignment. But outside of that, your watch goes without any sort of occurrence.
All right.
Are you passing
Torunn will
along
go ahead
Sean?
and.
Yeah, he's gonna pass on watch to whoever was next.
Yeah, I'll take second watch. Torunn will.
Okay, Torunn, go ahead and roll me a perception check as well.
All right.
All right. Torunn, you kind of set on the edge of this precipice, kind of looking out over the mountain. You see the trees below as the snow kind of falls across your head, and you can see the trees that are green now being covered in this white. It's odd though. The snow is falling, and you see even a bit of rain cascading on the city, but the snow only falls about a few 100 feet down to down from where you are before it transitions into that rain. And seeing that transition from here, it's very surreal in a way. cool winds kind of blow through you, and your armor's getting a little bit chilly, which you're committed to wearing it at least through your watch. The warmth of the fire is enough. You look out over the cabin nearby, and it seems quiet and cool. Nothing seems to interrupt your watch. You kind of take your leave and head back over after the hours are done and kind of go grab Nadari, kind of wake her up. She kind of nods to you as she's awoken from her meditation. Nadari, if you'd like to go ahead and roll me a perception check. All right.
Ooh.
Nice.
And is anyone else planning on doing any watch, or are you just leaving it up to Nadari for the rest of the evening and early morning?
I'll go ahead and do one for the early. Oh, Cosmo. I mean, if necessary, I'll do one if necessary.
It's not necessary. It's up to you. As Nadari has offered, she only has to kind of rest for a portion of the time that you all do.
Then I guess maybe not then.
Okay. So yeah, as the rest of you kind of take the very wanted relaxation from the rest of the day, Nadari, you kind of get up and stretch your sore muscles from the climb and begin to kind of wander through the darkness and the snow, kind of fascinated by it, seeing the light of the fire glisten off the snowflakes and kind of cascading down the rock around this small little campsite. And you catch that the door to the cabin is ever so slightly ajar. Looking in it, you don't see much light coming inside, but you can see a few the dim light of a fireplace inside that just illuminates the shadows within the doorframe.
Well, I don't want to enter a home I'm not invited in. But you're saying the door is open?
The door does seem to be slightly open, yes.
And I'll politely kind of scoop up the cups that he let us borrow. And I'll gently knock on the door. Just not so much to just rouse people up, but kind of as a warning, I suppose. Before I just...
You kind of head in over towards the small cabin, kind of through the snow, kind of stepping. It's probably about a good couple inches at this point as it's begun to accumulate. You kind of reach the door and kind of give a knock, and the pressure of your hand opens it maybe a couple inches more, but you wait for a second and listen, and there's no real response.
Hello? I'm just going to leave these here. Your door's open. Don't want the snow to get in. And I'll set the dishes kind of right inside the door and just kind of... I've got advanced dark vision, whatever, so I'll just peer in and make sure that there's nothing just terribly wrong. If I look in and see someone dying on the ground, let me know, I guess.
Yeah, sure thing. You kind of open the door just enough to get a hand and then kind of set these dishes down by the doorway. As you kind of glance across, no sound, no response meets your greeting. As you look across, you see a relatively calm, quiet, and empty cabin. Small table, a hearth that is burning low with embers. You can see the edge of a bed. It's not very big. It's maybe 20 to 30 feet from wall to wall in here. But on an initial glance, there doesn't seem to be anything out of order.
Is it obvious that there's somebody in it? In the bed?
It's not obvious, no. You can only see a portion of it.
I don't think I have anything based upon that would cause me to enter someone's home uninvited late at night, so I will set the dishes down and then gently close the door just to preventing snow from blowing inside.
Okay. You kind of close the door behind you and make your way back over to the rest of the group and continue to look out. Again,
I will keep my eye on it though, so if the door opens again or something weird happens, I'll be aware.
Sure. And as you kind of continue to keep an eye, but kind of looking around, the night continues on quietly. You don't notice anything nearby the door. and slowly, steadily, light begins to kind of rise up as the sun's first rays start to stretch over. And being this high on the mountain, the light is almost blinding when it first comes up, and many of you are woken up as the light just catches on the side of this cliff face. But Nadari, you didn't notice anything else throughout the evening. And it's early morning as you all kind of wake up, your muscles still sore and kind of brought out of a deep sleep from the sun. Not the best sleep that you've had on the hard rock, but the fire and the tea certainly helped.
Durzan's gonna get up and stretch, as he is very sore. A long while since I've slept out on a mountain. Forgotten how bad it feels.
Torunn's feeling mostly okay. She's young. No real problems as far as that goes, but didn't have the most restful of sleep anyways, just because it was kind of cold. But doing okay.
Yeah, Pats is not used to the cold and the snow. But other than that, he had a nice night, and as everyone's getting up, he's passing out the rest of the candied almonds for breakfast.
Ooh, yum.
Durzan takes a handful and just munches on them.
It's good energy. We're gonna need it.
I've gotta get ready for the trek down.
Alright, as you all kind of munch on this snack and make sure your fire's out and roll up your bedrolls and pack up your gear. The morning is very bright. It must be 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning as you all kind of finally get things up and going. And look down at the mountain ahead of you. There's probably about 4 or 5 inches of snow that has accumulated, but it seems to only extend down for the first portion and go just past the trees before it stops.
Torunn's going to go over and just kind of look down the cliff path, kind of pull on the rope, just kind of inspect it, make sure it's still secure before starting to slowly climb down.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead and give me an investigation check.
Yikes.
Okay, you kind of look at the rope and kind of test it out. You're not an expert in climbing by any means, but it still seems secure.
I'll go ahead and start kind of slowly, not quite rappelling, but just kind of like backing my way down the rope.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead and give me an athletics or acrobatics at advantage. What was that, Pats?
Pats will stay up until everyone else is down, so he can like kick the rope down, so we still have the rope, and then he'll just climb down
Durzan was
unassisted.
gonna climb down with Pats because Pats got stuck.
That was because I had 30 pounds of rope on me. I'm like 50 pounds. Calm down.
That's fine. You can just sit on my shoulders and you can take the batons off. It'll be fine.
I weigh 45 pounds, okay?
It's not a lot.
I know. It's fine.
Ezra will go down next just in case catching needs to be done.
All right. Ezra, athletics or acrobatics for you as well.
Alrighty.
At advantage.
Oh, at advantage.
I'm going to suggest you
Athletics.
don't catch Durzan if he falls.
I'll do
Just
my
move,
best.
let him
As
smash
long as
into
you
the
don't
ground.
fall from 100 feet. Oh, jeez, that was advantage.
All
Yikes.
right. And then Nadari, athletics or acrobatics at advantage.
I can choose acrobatics.
All right. And then Durzan as well.
Alright.
Yeah. All right. So no problems. You all make your way down slowly and systematically, and then over the course of 5 minutes, it's much easier going down than it is going up. And Pat is able to kind of hang on and pull out the rope as you go, Durzan, and it's a little bit more difficult for you, and you take your time, but you kind of work through it very systematically and don't come across any trouble, and eventually you all find yourself down on the bottom. Relatively quick descent.
Cool. Was a fun, eventful night out.
All right, and you all begin to make the trek down the mountain, wading through a bit of snow at the beginning, but it quickly tapers out. Though there is some mud through the forest, you all make good time. It's significantly easier going down this incline than it was to come up it, and you find your speed is much more akin to your typical walking speed, and in some cases even faster. And you guys find your way down to the bottom of this mountain in just over an hour. And so it's still early morning, about 8 or 9 o'clock, as you guys find yourselves at the base of this mountain.
Well, how's everybody doing? Should we pay, oh boy. Pay Vajra a visit again? Let her know how things went?
I think that's the next step we've got. She should have had time to go talk to Renaer by now.
Yeah, and she's had half a day and all night. Yeah, let's head over there.
All right. So you all make your way back up north through the castle ward and up the street of silks, finding your way back to Blackstaff Tower. And as you approach, sure enough, there are guards outside, but they are different. They do still not seem to have any sort of color or special uniform, but be well armored and well armed. And one of them kind of sees you and nods and begins to guide you all through that same tower across the bridge. And once he reaches the double doors, he kind of gives a knock and kind of waits for a moment, and there seems to be a call from inside that he's content with, and he opens up the door and kind of guides you all in. And you see still, even at this early hour, the same image of Vajra Safar sat behind her desk with her hair still perfectly curled along her head, that same staff kind of set next to her, and similar clothes on. She still looks elegant and put together, and she looks up at you all as you enter, gives you a greeting. Well, I have to admit I didn't quite expect you all to take that long, but I'm glad to see you're back and well. Did Thlum give you a response?
It was a little bit cryptic, but he did. He said, "Evil's twin hides its face for now." Though I'm not quite sure exactly what that means, but he said you'd figure it out.
Interesting. Did he say anything else, or was that it?
Not much else. He did give us some nice tea for the night.
I believe he did say something about expecting it to be back in winter.
Oh, that is right.
I see.
One other thing. I had kept watch and nothing terribly wrong happened, but it seemed his door was cracked open. While it was snowing, quite odd. I laid the teacups that we had used in there and knocked, but I certainly wasn't going to enter the men's home.
Well, I do know that Thlum does like to take his late-night strolls, so I imagine that if anything were to happen, it would be quite a bit more noticeable. He certainly isn't one to be messed with lightly. But I thank you all for your interest, and that is enough for me for now. It seems as if we have time to get our affairs in order before things are to worsen. So, you have questions, and I will do my best to answer them. Please, come and sit. And once again, the guard has, at this point, set up the chairs, now 5 of them, spread around as she looks at the newcomer. I don't believe I had the pleasure of your acquaintance. Are you a friend of these?
That's me, right?
Yes, it would be.
Yes. Okay. Yes, I've been working with the cosmonauts for a few days here as we've kind of met in the city and kind of adventuring with them. I was off on another end when they were last here.
Cosmonauts? Fascinating. I assume that has something to do with Cosmo, yes?
You got it, and I'm just going to fling my cape out. He will jump out, land on my hand, and do a glorious hamster pose.
He's our lovely little mascot.
He kind of gives a little spin across the hand, and typically you might expect a little bit of discombobulation from an animal moving this fast, but this hamster seems to be used to it.
He definitely has lots of very fun, confident squeaks as he does what he does.
That is quite impressive. But anyway, I'm sorry, I was distracted by the hamster. Did you say your name?
Yes, my name is Torunn Clegane.
Torunn.
I'm yes.
Clegane. Do you have family within the city?
Not that I've seen recently. I just recently came here a couple of weeks ago. I come from Javes Hall, far north. I'm new to the city.
Oh, well, it may be worth looking into the halls of justice. I've heard the name Clegane before from a few of the members of the congregation.
The halls of justice?
Yes, perhaps it might be family members of yours.
Possibly
Distant,
so.
perhaps?
I do have a rather large family, rather large extended family, so that is entirely possible.
So I've heard. Clegane is known as Wardens of the Nightwood, if I remember right.
Yes, indeed. That's where I grew up.
Perhaps we shall have to share stories at another time. But for now, and she turns back towards Durzan, please ask your questions and I will do the best I can to answer them.
Well, first of all, is there anything you can tell me about where she is or what she was doing when she went missing?
Well, the details on what she is doing are still a bit confidential, but I will try and give you what I can. Your daughter, Avila, she was a capable individual, and certainly one of note, as I'm sure you all understand. A Dragonborn gathers a certain amount of attention within this city, and there isn't much that happens within the city that the Blackstaff is not aware of. She assisted in the defeat of a demon known as a Balgura that had been released within the city, and also afterwards was introduced to myself from an acquaintance of mine named Asper. Apparently my friend had known your daughter and advocated on her behalf to join the Grey Hands, or this Force Grey. What we are is a bit of a protective force, a core of elite adventurers who work with the God and the Watch to deal with situations that require special expertise, things that are above the pay grade of the Watch certainly, and even of the God. We have methods that we can go to that are not often replicated. So we often look for individuals of advanced technique or skill, and your daughter showed much of that. Not only in her dealings with this demon, but also in some of the training that we put her through, some of the initial missions. Regardless, she eventually became an official member of Force Grey, and we gave her an assignment to investigate some of the lower sewers within the city. It was associated with the increase in violence that I'm sure you all are aware of. We've had issues with criminals in the past, but never such to the degree that Force Grey needed to get involved. It was only recently that the incursion of the newer guild, this Dask,
We've had some run-ins with them already in these sewers you're talking of as well.
Yes, they've seemed to, they're relatively new to the city, and they've taken the city by force and taken over the criminal underground, much to the disdain of those who are already established. Between Dask and the Zehinterim, the fighting has started within the sewers and the back alleys and quickly broken out into the streets. It's escalated to a point that the City Watch and City Guard can't stay on top of things, and now it's not just gangsters and mobsters who are being injured and criminals, but also civilians. We've had increases in murder, and the crime rate has skyrocketed, and so it's fell to us to try and do what we could to assist. Unfortunately, I don't know where your daughter is now. She was on assignment investigating these sewers, and typically our members can, especially when they're on assignment, go dark for several weeks and even months, but it's been long enough now that I've become very cautious, very concerned. I sent a few of our more experienced members to go and investigate, to try and determine if they could see any evidence. They've investigated a few areas around the sewers nearby where I knew she called her home. An inn known as the Inn of the Crescent Moon. It's in the Dock Ward. That's where
Yes, I've heard of it.
she rented a room out there, and so I sent some people to inquire there, investigate her living quarters and nearby sewer entrances, all of which didn't have many signs. Very few, well, to be honest, very few clues as to what she had found out. I do have a few of her journal entries, some things that reveal a bit of her mission, but they are quite confidential.
I actually have something I'd like to share with you too.
Oh, you do?
Yes, Avila and I have been sharing letters for almost her entire time she was here. But a couple months ago, I got this one from her, and it's been very unusual. It's why I came to the city to look for it. I can't make heads or tails of most of it. But maybe you can. Maybe some of it makes some more sense to you. And he's going to hand the letter he got from Avila to her.
She cautiously grabs it from you and kind of, with your approval, opens it up and quickly skims through it. That does seem a bit cryptic, to be sure.
And this is not like her.
Well, I can certainly look into it. I can do some analysis on it, see if I can figure out and make heads or tails of what's within the letter. In the meantime, I do have people actively searching the sewers and nearby for any discernment of a dragonborn.
I'm sure your men are doing fine in those sewers. But you'll understand that I'm going to find my way down there looking for her, with or without the city's blessing.
I would expect nothing less from what I've heard from you, and from what Renaer says, you all seem to be quite capable. Capable enough that I'm willing to extend an offer. If you would like, I would be willing to support your efforts down in the sewers, your search. If you are willing to assist in other areas and other matters within the city, I'm sure at some point we'll be able to find details and we can launch a full, a few assault if need be, but at least an investigation into these sewers to find your daughter. And if any of you are willing, I would like to extend membership in the Grey Hands out to you all. Official membership.
You're saying I get my own gray hand?
Well, rather you would be a Grey Hand. Obviously starting off with a low entry-level missions and working your way up to the more extreme and confidential. It will take a bit of time until I can fully assess all of your abilities. But in that time I can do research and gather information and hopefully find enough information to lead us to Avila. It is quite difficult to keep a Dragonborn concealed for a long amount of time, especially in this city.
Perhaps we could talk about something of a trial, almost like an interview for both parties, a sort.
She looks at you curiously. Did you have something in mind?
Well, you graciously extended the offer for us to have a membership, but I don't know if we know enough about you and you enough about us. Maybe there's some kind of task or something where both of us can learn more?
She thinks about it for a moment, drumming her fingers across her staff again before she looks back at you. That might not be the worst idea. Let me see what our scouts have brought in and see what outstanding actions we have for Force Grey's attention that might align with your skills and expertise. Do you all have a home within the city?
Yes, we'll be
Something of the
promised to.
sort.
You probably don't want to visit.
We're working on it.
We're still fixing it up.
It's haunted.
Very.
You all are just full of surprises, aren't you? Well,
Yep.
in that case, I'll take a few days to think about it and to search out something. And as soon as I have information, I will reach out to you all and bid you back here, and we can discuss that. Does that sound amenable?
I believe so.
Yes.
Sounds good to
Works for
me.
That works.
Wonderful. Then if you don't have any other questions, you all can be about your day, and I'll get to work on this information.
You have a good day, ma'am.
You as well, Durson. Alright, and as the guard leads you back across the bridge and out of the tower, you guys find yourself back into the city. One step closer, hopefully, to finding Durson's daughter.
Me as a player has gone from worried to less worried to very worried.
It's a roller coaster of emotions.
So it goes, so it goes. Alright. So within the city at the start of the day, is there anything that captures your all attention, or are you just headed back to the manor?
Want to go piss off the ghost some more?
I'm curious about this ghost. I do want to go piss off a ghost.
Oh, that's right. You weren't there. You were working with the tradesman.
Oh,
Yes,
that's right.
I missed the entire fight. Or whatever
Oh,
went
it's just-
down.
Oh,
It's just throwing shit.
It wants us to leave, but I want it to
That
leave,
too.
so we're at an impasse.
Well, no, you want to catch it like some sort of animal, and I don't think that's going to go well.
Hey, hey, hey! I was gonna let it go afterwards. You know, like how the big people do with fish sometimes. But we've had this discussion.
No, we talked, we argued, and then we walked away.
Yeah, that's a discussion. You big people, I don't understand. And I'd hop on your shoulders as we just gotta start walking.
Uh-huh, you don't understand me.
Nope.
Right.
Torunn just kind of rolls her eyes, but is also somewhat lost in thought over the fact that that her family name was recognized. She was not expecting to run into somebody who knew her family in the city.
Alright. And so, as you guys all make your way back across the city, kind of weaving your way across the castle ward and back across across the north ward back to Trollskull Alley, you do come upon the manor itself, still a little bit dilapidated, but much quieter now that all of the guild representatives have made their way away, and doesn't seem like too many people have intruded upon your domain in your absence. However, as you do approach, you do see a very large armored individual standing upon the doorstep. You all kind of look, and this individual seems to be kind of looking in the windows and kind of peering in the doorways before they kind of turn around and kind of catch sight of you as they raise up a hand and kind of call out towards your group. Torunn Clegane, I have a bone to pick with you! And that's where we're going to end the session today.
Oh,
you piss off, Torunn?
boy.
Who did I piss off?
So much for pissing off a ghost. Oh, you recognized your name and sent a lackey after you. I don't know.
Oh dear.
All right, so with that will conclude our adventure for the day. Please tune in next week as we rejoin our adventures here on Dragon Heist. And we will be streaming this every week here on Javelin Entertainment, or every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Central. And we'll see you guys next week.